Warm welcome to the Mitt Liv podcast. I'm your host, Sofia Appelgren, and founded the company Mitt Liv now 16 years ago. And our goal is to foster an inclusive society and a labor market that values diversity. And here we engage in conversations with extraordinary individuals who are reshaping the job landscape for inclusivity. And together we try to tackle some challenges, we highlight successes, and we want to draw inspiration from those leading the charge for a more inclusive and fulfilling professional world by getting to know them a little bit more. But most important today, we are privileged to have an amazing person and leader with us. And I'm honored to welcome someone who's walking the talk with all the challenges and opportunities DEI brings. So a warm welcome, Kuba Jankowski, Head of IKEA Industry, to our conversation about values and purpose and how diversity can enhance both societies and companies. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for invitation to this podcast and looking forward for our talk.
Wonderful. And I'm always a little bit curious about the feeling people wakes up with every day, because it has a quite big impact on the day ahead. So how did you wake up this morning and what mindset did you have?
I think my today morning was not really ordinary morning. You know, I woke up by hearing my wife screaming the name of our cat. So I was running in the garden trying to save the small rabbit.
Oh no.
And we saved the rabbit and we gave the rabbit to the mother in another garden. So it was not really common an ordinary morning. But normally I actually waking up looking forward for the breakfast and those small chats with my kids and my wife. It's like kind of calm one, and then it's our a little bit time, and we are going out to work or school together. So it's a relaxing moment.
But this is interesting, I think, as from a leader perspective. So when these spontaneous crises occur, how do you handle them? What is your personality?
First, I think is directly looking what are the opportunities. So I don't see the negative solution. It does not cross my mind. So I'm directly about, okay, what we can learn out of this, how we can solve it, how we can move on forward with, and so on. So it's actually pretty easy in my mind to go directly into this mood. Then maybe I'm sometimes too solution oriented and not listening carefully enough at the beginning when the crisis occurs, but I just want to move on to this more relaxing stage where the people can cooperate and collaborate in a better way.
That's interesting. Do you think this is a trained mindset or like a personality trait?
No, I think it's personality. It was since always, coming back from, I'm coming from the East European country during communist time and so on. And then, the only solution to be happy was to find happiness in yourself and move on with solution to what was not working on. It doesn't make sense to dwell too much about and complain. Is to move on and be positive about.
So tell us a little bit about you and the milestones and who brought you to your current role.
So as I said, grow up in Poland. And then actually maybe it's important for the whole story is that I was growing up without my father. So it was me, my mother, and my brother. He actually was born after my father's death. So we've been like a trio in this world and so on. And this went throughout the years really successfully as the teams. And then my mom had 5 sisters. So there was always a lot of females around me, very strong, either working on university or making fashion and so on. So I mention it because I think it is important to understand my approach to it. Sometimes people me asking and so on. Was working normally and during high school studies, and then I started to be at IKEA. I got employed as IT. I think it was a bit of mismatch recruitment. So I changed my job after 8 months. I'm not very IT interested person as it occurred. And then I moved to business. And then I've been living in few different countries, working for IKEA, buying furniture and so on. Then I became store manager. And one of the reasons was to learn something new. I've read this book about what to do before 40s. The best thing you can do is to learn. So I did it. And the last few years before current job, I actually been working with as assistant to IKEA CEO and working globally responsible for all the global distribution centers. And now since 2 years, it's my fourth country for IKEA. Then I'm based in Malmö and I'm leading IKEA Industry.
Amazing. So what is the mission of IKEA Industry? And I think also how it is aligned with your personal mission of leadership.
I think IKEA Industry mission is the same as for IKEA, so it's to create a better life for the many people. And it concerns, or it starts with where we buy raw materials, in the communities, in very different than the big cities. It goes through all our units with production and so on. Then the stores, the difference is that productions are very often in the very small villages, small cities and so on. Our stores are rather in big cities where many people live and so on. And in both cases, this involvement in communities, in how we can work with these societies there is extremely important. We want to be for the many. So it actually links very much with how it links to my personal mission. Coming from where I'm coming from, it is what it is. We did not have a lot, rather opposite. And then, so I feel really privileged to be able to work with IKEA and being able to work with many, many people from this perspective.
And I'm also curious, I'm very interested in values. I think those are super important and an important North Star for us. And they can be very personal. Do you have what is your most important value that has brought you through this life so far, you think? And where do you think it comes from?
I think the most important is, and actually it is actually also IKEA value, but it's rather to just simply be a leading by example. I due to this whole situation, I had the privilege to meet few people in my young times who I could see as the mentors and so on, and they've been really walking the talk. They've been really leading by example and so on. So this, I think, and it is connected to IKEA. It's super important for us, all coworkers in IKEA, not only leaders, but for all. The second thing, which I don't know if it is value, but it's something extremely important for me, is this constant change. The willingness to change, to explore, and to stretch ourselves, to never give up. So those are the two things that I would say are kind of leading my way. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes too fast for many. So, but this is kind of a combination and so on.
Yeah. But also, I mean, change is interesting because many people fear change and you embrace change. How do you bring people on board to also embrace and enjoy change? Do you think there are certain keys to make that happen?
I think the first and the most important is to demystify that change is something bad, that it's scary. Because what you just said is mainly why people are afraid, because they like to be in the comfort zone. But there is something extremely enjoyable to go out from comfort zone. So it is about how to make people in a comfort situation that they are in the change. So it is a kind of process. The moment they see it as positive and so on, they embrace. So this is maybe one. Then the second thing, when you talk to 2, 3, 4 people and they are already on the go with the change, I think it's really important to create, I call it a snowball effect. So you add one and one, and it grows and grows and so. And the last part which is maybe even the most important, is to really bring on board the people who stayed a little bit behind. Because there are always people there, who are a little bit slower adapting, who are maybe negative at the beginning. They need a little bit more encouragement. So in the successful changes, it's really important to not focus only on the one in front, but actually at the end in the back of the change. So this is, I think, the crucial point.
Ah, nice. So I bring that back to our own team. And I'm also, we at Mitt Liv, we've seen a lot over the past 16 years in this quite complex topic in many ways. But now we have the privilege to work a little bit closer to you as you're part of our CEOs for D&I program, but also your mentor. And when we talk about role models, you are always the number one mentioned. So that's something amazing. Your energy and your how you walk the talk, basically. And I'm a little bit curious about that. How is DEIB aligned with your purpose and values, and how do you bring this into IKEA industry as a mindset?
I think we start always by talking to the people and with the people about. So it is about talking and getting people on board and so on. It does not work. Strategy is by talking to the people. Then I think it's important to demystify why the people are afraid, why they don't understand the things. Because I think if we understand what they are afraid of, it's easier to move on. Then when it is done, then of course we do have a strategy, we have a plans how to move on and so on. So this is equally important. And then it's important to measure as well.
Yeah.
Then I think it's important also not to have too many goals and to not be spread out all the time. So to start with one, move one. When it is already halfway, you take the next one, and so on and so on. So it can work simultaneously from this perspective.
And what would you point out as the biggest challenges you've seen internally when it comes to these topics?
If I take IKEA Industry, I think we are present in many countries, which also means that we are in many different cultures.
Yeah.
And even if you are in the same country, the cultures, the society is very different. If I take East Poland and West Poland, it's few hundred or 1,000 kilometers difference, and there are differences. So this is one thing. Then we need to adopt to legislations, which also differs a lot between some countries in Europe or in Asia, and we also need to respect it. So it is always a combination of all the factors how we can move. So you can say that we want to move the totality, but we have plans on units. And the units are responsible to in a way to choose their own speed and how they want to work with details in all the topics.
Yeah. And I find it also, we live in a time where lots of things going on in the world, and it's so available with information, but still we have a big polarization, and it's becoming political. So we find it it's harder to have like a balanced discussion about these topics, because it also creates so much emotions. But and the world mirrors our organizations, and I guess is specifically a global company like yours. And how do you handle things like, these value conflicts and religious symbols, and like now the election of Trump coming in, and all these aspects? Do you have like policies and strategies, and how does that look like, and how do you manage those kind of value differences within the companies?
I think I don't know if it's called policy, but the main goal is to not be involved in politics at all.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, the first topic, which is extremely important. Then I think for the other, if we take like human rights or female rights, for example, we try to adopt with still knowing what we want to achieve. So as you said, we have our Northern Star, so we know where we want to go, but we adopt a little bit. We do believe that with small step in the change, we can move things and so on. I have seen it over 20 years, how we moved a lot of things in Poland by the small steps and so on. So from this perspective, I think it is a good way to support and to move on. Not always being in the forefront of only talking, but rather doing the things. In the same time, I think we are extremely aware about the polarization, about the risk of artificial intelligence, about the fact that the facts may mean very different things, and we live in the world, then it's quite easy to get fake news. Fake facts. So it is not easy to navigate. And then I think the most difficult nowadays, which is starting as a trend, I have the feeling, is that it does not matter if you do or you not do. You can be criticized anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
This starts to be very difficult, that you need to have the standpoint on everything, even if it is far away from what you are doing, what is your area of expertise from this perspective.
And it needs to be totally transparent, all your standpoints. So with the diversity of opinions, there will be someone thinking about everything they see and hear about the company. I think that must be a big challenge, isn't it? I mean, everything you do internally can reach out externally. But how do you, I mean, also when you look at these big shifts in the world and how they mirror your organization, what do you think are the biggest trends that will have an impact at the IKEA industry ahead and on those topics?
I think the biggest trend which we see, the biggest opportunity in a way, it is that we see the change, the workplace is very much changing for coworkers. Now I'm more focused on the coworkers, which are our coworkers in the production. And then I see one huge opportunity is to have the upskilling, because we have been using a lot of people with very low competence or for very easy task and so on. Now we are moving to very much automated production line. So the average coworker is standing or sitting in front of 1, 2, 3 monitors. But we want to have the same coworkers we have had, the coworkers which has been with us for 10, 15, 20 years. So now we need to upskill them, and we want to upskill them so they can work with it. I think that the phones as such, this was the biggest advantage for us, that, if I remind myself, in the 90s, I was teaching my mom how to use Excel on the big computer and so on. This was the reality. Now every person is very digitally capable with the phone to use a lot of application to work with it and so on. And we should use it, how to make people's life in a better way. And then the second is about safety and work environment. So we actually trying not to talk any longer about male and female at the production floor. We are rather trying to talk about hate. Okay, so is it okay as the workplace for somebody having 165? And if we adopt the place for the person who is 165, it will be very comfortable for both female and male to work there. Then they both will be less tired when they leave and so on, and they will be much less safe. So it's, I think, also important to somehow demystify the gender as such, but to rather work, okay, how you can be inclusive with this. So this is the two topics, the most important I see for us in the future.
And what is the biggest competence need you have for your industry?
Is the digital. The digital competence is the most important. And then in this we can talk about the people like operating, but also people who take care about maintenance. Because before, if I take few years back, the maintenance was mainly with, you take the screwdriver, you unscrew, you screw, and then, I'm simplifying a bit, but let's say like this. And today is actually you have the iPad and you work on iPad to fix what is not working, and then you have hundreds of different sensors and it's everything connected. So you do something in the unit in Slovakia and the guys in Malmö, they know that something is not working because they have the blinking light and then what's going on. So
and if you look 10 years ahead and then look back, what would you have been most proud of achieving when it comes to DIB and IKEA industry as a whole, as a leader?
I think one is this modern workplace, whatever it means. But I think this would be really great if we can move, because this we can support many people in many different countries, which are not yet where some other well-developed countries. So this is maybe one. Second, I think it would be great if we can stop to talk about gender diversity. That it is fixed in a way we don't need to talk about. And as the one thing which I believe will be big topic in a few years, and it is the actually age diversity. We are all working longer, so we will have in the production floor co-workers on the span between 65 and 20. It's two different generations. How to make those generations to respect themselves, to cooperate and collaborate, which I think this will be the next big topic. Also to combine their dreams, how to live, which those two generations have very different point of view, how we want to live.
I still have my grandma. She's 99 years old. So we are now 4 generations that can talk to each other about back in the days and future. And it makes you very humble over history and how far we have developed and innovate things. So it's can't be other than curious about the future. And also when everything increasing in pace and we become even more innovative maybe. But it's I also I mean, you have been now a mentor. You are a mentor. And I'm a little curious about why did you take on that assignment? You're so busy and still you signed up for some extra engagement in our mentor program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, why? I think it's basically that if I go back 20 years or 25 years back, somebody was a mentor for me. It was not called mentorship at that time. It was rather that we've been traveling to our suppliers by car, and the trip in Poland at that time has been 4 or 5 hours one way. So you've been sitting in the car with some people who has been my leaders at that time, and then they've been talking to me. And this was the best way to learn about. So now I'm trying to actually pay off my debt to the people who are at the beginning. So this is maybe one important reason. The second is that actually when we moved here, my wife started to work for a job as well, which is not easy with her age and moving between 4 different countries with me. So as she is part also on some mentorship program as a mentee, so it's my way to pay off the debt to the society and find time to have it. And it's so enjoyable to be the mentor for the people and to show them how sometimes things are super simple. If you approach them from different way. So this is maybe one thing. And then the second thing, which is maybe a bit personal, I told you about this, that I grew up in the family with very strong women and, very successful ones. But now I see many women doubting a lot, which is a little bit contradiction what I have seen in my childhood from my aunts. So it's
why
also
is that, you think?
I have no idea. I think it comes from how we are educated in early days. You know that it's, in a way, it is okay for the boys to be naughty and do whatever, and they are perceived as the a strong one, and it's good. And we expect from women, we expect to be rather calm and well behaving, and I think it makes them a little bit less courageous later on, less demanding and towards the world, and then rather demanding themselves too much and not believing in their capabilities, which I think it's good to change. And if I can help with this, then it works.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And I mean, in Mitt Liv, we talk about keep the circle going within the mentorship program. So exactly what you mentioned, you give back. If you get something, you want to give back. That's how we build strong communities and foster strong societies, in my belief. And and also we know that there are many leaders listening to this podcast, and many are in the very, very beginning of their journey, approaching DEIB, but also, some far ahead. But if you would give like one tips for the people in the very beginning, just to get started, what would that be?
I think that I have two persons who had those amazing quotes, which I'm reminding myself when I have difficult days, and they actually go in line with me as the person very much. And one, it was Albert Einstein who was talking about that you should not expect a different result if you don't change anything. So first thing, if I can go like, don't give up, but also think about how to change, how to go out from the comfort zone, whatever. And the second was actually Winston Churchill, who said that there is no success without failing many times with the smile.
Oh.
And it also gives you, a failure is nothing bad. It's how you stretch, how you learn, but treat it with the smile, and then the next time and the next one, the fifth or fourth time or sixth time, it will be success, and then you will enjoy. I also have the feeling that if everything goes super easy and they are only successes, you don't appreciate them any longer.
No.
So therefore, for me, this quote of failing with success, with smile, gives something into my heart and brain that, we need to enjoy those moments all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I love it because, I mean, also, as you know, been around now for a while, trying to build our own stuff here. It's a lot of failures, and and the mindset of getting up there again and waking up Monday, embracing a new week, see all the opportunities. It's a mindset, isn't it? And we can train that, I think. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think if you would look retrospectively, and you could say, okay, I just take out all the failures during the last 16 years, and then I'm pretty sure you would say, yeah, but then Mitt Liv wouldn't be what it is today.
No, that's also so true.
Yeah,
that's
so
brilliant.
this is how you appreciate this, what you have from the perspective. Yeah.
It really makes, I agree. It makes you so humble, and focus on the positive, and the positive hopefully grows. Yeah, and now we meet Jacob next week on stage at our inclusive labor markets symposium, and we can't wait to hear you and listen to you. And yeah, and I just so strongly believe that if we want to go fast, you go alone. If we want to go far, we go together, and together we walk the talk. So we're so proud of you and this collaboration, and yeah, wish you an absolutely wonderful day ahead, and we see you very, very, very soon.
Yes, thank you very much for the talk, and see you soon.
Yes.